What's going on, people? It's your boy 3G represent 3G Nation, back here with another video. Now, I originally had a different video for this specific video on the Division, my thoughts on the beta so far, some things I feel like they can improve on, and where I feel like this beta will take off when the full release releases. Whatever. So basically, the game's plot is like this: there was a smallpox pandemic, right, and it spread on Black Friday, and it was transmitted through banknotes. Well, the virus was transmitted through actual banknotes that, went around thousands and thousands of people, and within days, there was a huge outbreak on this virus. The city of New York as a whole is just going through this huge outbreak. There's survival, no food, no nothing, and it's you as a division to go in, clean up the mess, really find what's going on, and to take out enemies in the waves of whatever is going on in the game. So first, I want to talk about the gameplay. So coming into this game, I already had played the alpha and gave my thoughts on that, and with this beta, I can say that even though we was released like some of these notes, the patch or bug notes, and a lot of them were severe, some of them were technical issues, and feel like they would have really affected the game. I didn't really go through too many of those issues, and I'm happy I did it. And to be honest with you, the overall gameplay was kind of solid. There was times I did run into bugs, and yes, sometimes when I killed the wave of enemies, the next wave kind of were dubbed a little bit. But here's my real issue with the game, right? The open world, the city of New York, where it's crazy, the one-to-one depiction of just how New York really looks. It looks identical. It almost looks identical. That's what keeps me so much intact with the game, that I see that the city looks that much similar to the game. Like, it looks that creepy to me. Like, it's crazy. And what really keeps me on my feet is just the engagement with the AI when I play with my guys. The engagement that I get while shooting an enemy, because I'm actually really happy that they fixed the hitboxes, and when you shoot an enemy, they die faster. So from the alpha, you can empty out a clip, 2 clips, the enemy's health gauge will just go down, and I'm talking about level 1 enemies. But in this case, now I feel like the gunplay is a little bit better. It's been increased, the damage has been increased, and I actually do enjoy that more. The enemy AI, the looting system, and I can definitely say just that the combat is what really needs to be improved if this game wants to survive, right? So first off, there's missions in the game, there's some optional missions, and there's some main missions, right? I feel they should scrap it personally, because it's almost like a single player story mission that they force on you, knowing that you're running it with a team, right? Secondly, the looting system is a bit terrible. Like, I loot and I loot and I loot, and whenever covering, and one of my guys said the same thing, whenever they beat like a bigger boss or a bigger enemy and they drop a weapon, there's a common, or I think a exotic, or there's another, like just like Destiny basically, they loot, they drop a weapon, and sometimes it's either a rare weapon or a common, and it's almost like we keep picking up common weapons, common gear, that our gear may be even better. So it's almost like the grind system is a bit off, and still for a beta, hopefully they improve that, because I would love to see a way better enhanced version of a loot system. I would love to see that when we're killing enemies and all that, taking down enemies, that the looting is more rewarding. I don't feel as rewarded with the amount of enemies that I've taken down. It does not feel rewarding enough. I want to see myself defeating a bigger gangster, whatever, in the street, and I am rewarded something more rare, or something that's more strong than what I have on. Because they have the workshops in the game, in the save zones, they have workshops where they have gear, they got weapons, you get to customize stuff, and whatnot, so much more. But yet, they're expensive. So I feel, okay, you're gonna go ahead and do that. They're expensive. We have to level up, and as you progress and level up, you earn experience points. You use the experience points in that sense to go in the workshops and purchase these items and gear and everything else. So I'm like, all right, cool, that's the grinding part, but the rewarding part is just not there for me. Like, I can grind all day on it, but it's just not there. And just to say, when I do cover up a mission or a boss or whatnot, I get weapons that I'm assuming are beasts, but they're still, once again, very common and just not as strong or powerful. And I just find myself scrapping it or selling it, because that's what you could do too in the game that I enjoyed a lot. You get to sell your weapons, you get to sell gear, you get to sell a lot to get back some money, some experience money, whatever, experience points, I should say. And I think that's definitely a good way to keep the game going, moving back and forth with you connecting with the world, as well as trying to get more resources and stuff like that to survive. The enemy AI, the difficulty in the AI is not really as far as their intelligence and how they maneuver over or interact with you during a fight. It's really just if you're getting at a high level and the bosses that are at a high level, it's really just their damage percentage and their health percentage that's just high up. So it may take longer to kill them, and when they shoot you, you might die faster, not because they're that smart or strategic or the way they interact. It's really just the health and damage is just probably raised up, which I find to be lackluster, because I don't feel like that's more engaging to be in a fight, and I feel like it might get worse in repetitiveness, because we know open world RPGs can get repetitive, but in that sense that we know what the enemy's going to do at every moment is ridiculous. I had enemies running at me with bats. You know, I had a shotgun. Why are you running at me with a bat? So, you know, in that sense, I'm like, the enemy AI just they have no chill. They don't care. They don't give a shit. All the AIs look the same. They're all wearing baggy pants, jackets, hoodies, and bandanas. Like, there's nothing different. You know, I see somebody, well, my boy has said that he sees something with a flamethrower, but they look still the same. Like, you know, they need this is not the route you should go if this is going to be an open world open world RPG where, you know, ongoing crisis and whatnot. You're going to have everybody look the same. There's no real engagement going on in the world. It does feel a bit empty, I'm not going to lie. The game feels a bit empty, and I think what would have made this game better, and what I hope, is that the looting system, we're able to go through apartments, we're able to go through trash cans and everything. And we do find loot that way, don't get me wrong, but I want more rewarding loot. I wouldn't have cared even if I were to find a weapon part in the trash can or whatnot. Like, they need to really make the game interesting, make it so that, oh my god, like, this is groundbreaking every second, because that will keep me intact with the game. Everything does feel very basic in the game for me. You know, nothing feels very hands-on where I'm like, oh my god, this is freaking engaging. Like, it doesn't feel like that to me personally. The game plays solid in my opinion. And just note that you can customize your zone, your safe zone, which I think only you as the player can see how different it looks, but not everybody else. I would have preferred where you get to find an apartment in the city and you have to go ahead looking for locks and stuff, and then you just, I guess, get a room in the city, and that'll be like your little trap house where you get to plant weapons and stuff like that, bring home weapons and gear that you got, book bags, backpacks, because in the game there's a lot of that. You're able to upgrade, customize, get more gear and more book bag space, backpack space, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do that I wish, like, damn, I wish we had like our own little trap house in the game, in the world, with our 4-player, you know, people for our 4-player team. I think that would have been just great. Now let's talk about the dark zone. Now the dark zone, I just got into that for like a couple hours. I wasn't in it too much. My boy was, and I'm gonna show some of his footage. Shout out to, you know, my boy Losity for that, because he did get into the dark zone. And basically what it is just a part of the map that is just more difficult. It's basically where the military have retreated from, and the virus hit hard on that area. So basically there's PvP, PvE. Did I just confuse that? It's PvP VE, I guess. So there's enemies there, and that's where supposedly you get the most loot, the best loot. So now me, the team, us 4 guys is going to this location to battle it out with AI, whatever. But the competitive part and you have to be strategic, because now you got other 4-player people coming there to try to get this loot. So in some cases, some scenarios, they're helping you, right? They're helping you get this loot. But then if you notice that there's no more enemies, AI, and you grab this loot, they could go ahead and shoot you. They could go ahead and shoot you and take the loot. And the only way you can keep this loot, and this is separated from the main game that I was just talking about. The dark zone is separated from the main game. But if you take this loot and you don't take it back to your safe zone, it won't save in your inventory. So now it's your job to take this loot, and now you gotta go ride right back. You gotta go take your ass right back to the safe zone. And in that case, now you're basically the hunted. They're gonna go ahead. The online players are the 4 teams. They're gonna go ahead and now try to kill you because they want the loot. So now I think honestly the whole game should have just been based off of Dark Zone. I think the whole game should have just been that. You know, PvP, PvP, whatever. I think the game should have just been a whole thing of PvP, yeah. I think the whole game should have just been like a PvP, VP, VE, I guess, so that it's 4 teams all around the world, 4v4 with AI all around, so that it'll be more survival-like, like it'll be more intense, knowing that we just can't roam the city thinking like, all right, we Gucci, we gotta go kill enemies. No, that you gotta be careful that whatever we're looting, we gotta be careful no enemies are watching us. That would have made the game so much better, and I hope soon they do something where they expand the dark zone, because that would keep people in the game. That's something that people would consider a $60 buy because of something like the Dark Zone. As the overall game, like I said, is just a first impression on the beta. Yes, the game is playable. The game crashed on me a couple of times. That's to be expected. There's some bugs that's to be expected, but this is really just it. This is my thoughts, my opinions on the beta so far. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I would love to hear it. And it's your boy 3G representing 3G Nation, and we out. Peace.